Hi, welcome to Andrew Buckle, fourth part of my bookshelf tour. Just going to go with first one, Doctor Strange. I love this one. This is Marvel Masterworks. Now, I haven't got many Marvel Masterworks. This is volume 6, and this has got some really great stories. You can see there the stories, Doctor Strange 10 to 22, also annual number 1, which I love, and Tomb of Dracula, some classic Dracula stories, really brilliant. And also this Phase World story. I love this one. Pico Craig Russell, one of my favourite artists. I really love that one. So as soon as I saw this one, it was a couple of quid at Comic Mart. I thought, yes, I will have that one. I'd read all the stories a long time ago, obviously back in the 70s, and I loved them. Absolutely loved them. And it's just nice to get them in this sort of lovely format. Brilliant little book. Slightly disappointed with this one. Now, I had this one in a different format a few years ago, and when I bought it again, was the way, I'm always buying books again. This one, Tim Sale, black and white. This was the earlier version. Now, the listing unfortunately didn't indicate that. And I thought, oh, I was buying the one that I originally remembered, and it turned out to be this slightly smaller format. Nothing wrong with it. It's in black and white, as it says, black and white, strangely. But it's really good. But at the same time, just not as good as the other one. So if you're looking for a Tim Sale book, make certain you choose the right one. This is black and white. I think it's got the same title as well, just to confuse. But still, worth considering when you're going looking for a book about this brilliant artist. I love Tim Sale's works. Got lots and lots of his work over the years. But again, always the way you choose the wrong one. You think, but I'm not going to buy the other one as well. This one, The Comic Reader. This is absolutely brilliant. Jerry Bales, Dr. Jerry Bales, really brilliant, alter ego, and much more. This is just full of just so much early Marvel, DC, lots and lots of information, sort of fans, just, well, everything. Basically 1961, 62, 63, just feeling the whole sort of start of that Marvel Comics age, as well as, of course, the DC Comics that have been existing, and also other titles as well. This is just such an amazing book. Really love this one. I love that picture on the back, because, of course, he collected other comics as well. And you've got those, obviously, Marvel comics there, Marvel Mystery Comics. Just absolutely glorious book. Now, beginning in 1961, I love Alter Ego magazine. Bought many issues over the years. Just great. Now, I only ever had one of the very early ones, and that's the Gil Kane one, which was brilliant. This one, Judge Dredd, The Complete Case Files. Now, I've only got a couple volumes of this. I think it's got how many, I'm not certain how many volumes now, but there are lots and lots of volumes. And this one includes, obviously, there, 2000 AD, progs 02 to 60. You can see the details there. The year's slightly odd. It says there, year 2099. Anyway, who knows? Obviously, it wasn't, obviously, when the 2000 AD came out. But this is a really nice little book. It's one of these books that I've picked up and read through, flicked through. And I read the stories when they originally came out. I used to buy 2000 AD quite regularly, so it's really nice. They're all in black and white. Very nice little collections. And as I said, it's got lots and lots of these volumes. So I've only got this one, and I've also got the Judge Anderson one somewhere, and maybe another one. This is probably one of the finest collections. If you're looking for, obviously, you've got Marvel Masterworks, you've got the Epic collections, you've got all those sort of omnibus, whatever. But I think this is, and probably the Taschen ones, of course, now as well. There's so many different series and gallery editions and other ones. But this one, I really hope that Penguin and Marvel continue to bring these out. You can get these in paperbacks. The paperback ones are really nice. Really like those. I haven't got them, but I have read them in the shop. Sort of stood there and just quickly read through it. But this one is the Spider-Man one. This is just absolutely beautiful. It's got the letters page, loads of things. It's just a quality book. This, for me, is also even got some early tales as well. This is how the Epic collection should be done, but are not. How Marvel should have done it right from the start. But The Amazing Spider-Man by Stan Lee, it's also got some brilliant essays in there as well. And it's a great little series. So far, they've only brought out 3. I really hope they bring out some more. I haven't seen any information about any new ones, but I hope at some point, like Fantastic Four, those sort of ones, you think the obvious suspects would come out. This one, brilliant. The Collection. This is one of the ones I picked up picked up at my local Oxfam shop, the National Gallery of Victoria in Australia. Just great because it's full of just amazing paintings, and many paintings of course, and also other things as well that I will never ever see unless I happen to pop over to Victoria, and I suspect maybe I never will. So it's really nice to get this sort of book, brilliant book. And whenever I see, quite often I go in my Oxfam and it's got a book like the library or the collection from Bulgaria or something, I don't know, whatever, I'm just making the name up. But I think, you know what, I must get that because it's just great, full of beautiful artwork that I probably will never actually see in real life, unless of course they're brought over for an exhibition in London or something like that. I mean, I have gone around to lots of galleries around the world, but there's of course zillions of galleries in small towns, cities around the world that I will never see. So these sort of collections I think are just brilliant for that. Oh, here's this one. Oh, this I've got 5. I didn't realise I had one. Again, another brilliant collection. I've read all the stories earlier. I used to read this quite religiously. I loved getting the comic. It was a regular purchase for me. Judge Dredd, this one's the complete case files for, now again, 2,103 for the year, but still, 2008 to 270. And just brilliant. Lots of brilliant. Brian Bolland, loads of Ian Gibson, Mike McKean, I always loved his work, Mike McKean, and many others. Just a great book. Nice thick volumes. I don't know how many pages. Always, of course, when you go, no, typical, doesn't actually show the page number, but it's all in black and white, but really perfect for that. I think in many ways, if they'd sort of coloured them and things, they would have ruined them. Of course, they were, in most cases, I'm quite certain, I think they were all in black and white. So, of course, it's really sharp. Of course, they're slightly smaller than the original comic books. So in many ways, I would love to have seen really big, huge gallery edition sort of thing. And of course, they are bringing those out now. They've got various different, I can't remember who's bringing them out, but they're bringing out the sort of similar sort of things as the artist editions. Or I was going to say artisan editions, but the artist editions. This one is a really odd book, weird but true. It's full of just some really weird artwork, and it's just put together in that really odd way. And again, it's my favourite. I love Craig Yo's works. He has brought out so many brilliant books, and this one is definitely a real oddball one. And I think it was like next to nothing. It was really super cheap online. I thought, oh, I didn't know anything about it either. It was sort of one of those ones you think, I wonder what that's about. It's in black and white, and it's just full of page after page after page of just some really fascinating facts about comics and everything else as well. Weird but true toon factoids. I was going to say factoids. This is a lovely collection. Star Trek, the graphic novel collection. There were loads of these in the shops. I didn't buy them. I must admit, I saw them quite often on the shelves. I thought, ooh, maybe I might buy those sometime. However, I picked this one up in my local market, and this one's the Harlan Ellison, The City of the Edge of Forever, the original teleplay. I loved the original TV episode. Brilliant. One of the best of the original Star Treks. Just love it. Of course, this was the original teleplay, and it's absolutely stunning as well. The artwork is excellent. Brilliant story. And you can see there the details there. Obviously, very similar sort of thing. You've got Dr. McCoy after accidentally injecting, etc. Follows that sort of thing. But there's a lot of differences, and it's a fascinating read. Also includes some gold key work as well. Gold key comics, which I really enjoyed. They were very odd sort of comics, and for some weird reason they didn't really seem to turn up in my town. But later on I saw them, and of course they were in UK comics as well. But the original gold key ones I didn't see, so it was always quite nice to see this. Nor did I buy the collections. There was an archive editions of those original comics, so it was nice to see them. Now, I don't know if all the other books, these graphic novel collections, had lots of those gold key stories. They probably did, but I just wasn't aware of them, which is a pity. But still, maybe if I see some more, must. But they're always sealed up, so I sort of like, I have no idea what was in them. And it doesn't actually even mention on the back that the gold key stories are in there, which is very strange. Now, this is a lovely book. John Hassell, brilliant illustrator, full of lots and lots of great examples of his work. The life and art of the poster king. Some small, pity, but still some really large pictures. I mean, you can see there. But also you've got some things like here. Record cover sleeves. Just really, really beautiful book, full of tons of examples. I absolutely love this one. This is a real decent collection. I wish every artist, every illustrator, obviously of the turn of the century, obviously previous century, They had loads of these sort of books. Absolutely brilliant. Poster art and much, much more. And you can see the details there. Britain's best known and most high profile artists. I suspect that many people have never heard of him, which is really quite sad, but still. Or if there's any exhibitions of his work, I would love to see those sort of things at the National Gallery. Why not? Still, on to yet another art book. I just got this one, I haven't read it yet. I've just skimmed through it, I haven't started reading it, but I love this period of English art. So I thought, oh, that sounds, I hadn't heard of it. And I was going through and I thought, I must get that book. English art between two world wars. Absolutely brilliant. It's got a lot of like Paul Nash, love his work. Obviously Rye, went down and saw his house and all those sort of things. And of course there was an exhibition at the Tate. I love that. Absolutely superb. Nice thick chunky book, typical Thames and Hudson book. I don't know how many pages in this, but there's a number. Now, it's not full of zillions of pictures, which is slight pity. I was actually expecting it to be slightly more packed solid with pictures, but it's still a pretty decent read. But it's, like I say, could have done with a few, maybe if it had been a more chunky book. Quite often these are, when it came I thought, oh, slightly smaller than I was expecting, and again I was slightly expecting more actual imagery, but still I'm certain a really good read. This is amazing. I was sort of thinking, oh, I can't buy it because I bought other ones, cookbooks. But this one, some people put examples on Facebook of Heston Blumenthal's book, obviously not his artwork, but my favourite, and you wouldn't know from this. The thing is, the advertising, everything about it sort of suggests, obviously it's all about Heston Blumenthal, which is of course reasonable. It's his cookbook. Is this a cookbook? Well, actually, he's answered his question. No! For me, the book, I bought this book, not for Heston Blumenthal, but a certain artist that's there. Dave McKean. Obviously, that isn't Dave McKean, but still, Dave McKean's, this I think has to be one of the finest cookbooks. I'm not saying about the recipes. I might try some, I don't know. But I think it's just an absolutely amazing, it's just all the way through, just full of his brilliant Dave McKean's artwork. More so than I think any other Dave McKean art book, one of Heston Blumenthal. It's just packed solid with pictures. I love this. Absolutely. It's a real thick, chunky book. If you're a Dave McKean fan, and who isn't, one of the finest illustrators, artists in the UK, as far as I'm concerned, one of the greatest artists living. I really love Dave McKean's work. I think he's brilliant. And this book is an absolute joy all the way through. Just so pleased I got it. I was a bit hesitant. I thought, oh no, another cookbook. Am I going to get another cookbook just because of the artwork? And seeing some of the examples, I thought, you know what? I must buy this because this looks really, genuinely an absolute masterpiece. Again, one of those sort of books, I would love to have seen it in a massive, big size format. Of course, it's still quite a chunky size format, but it would be anything Dave McKean's artwork I love. This is superb. Warren, Blazing Combat. There's been a few other collections of this, and I have had a couple other. I've had one previous collection, and I had, I think, one issue of Blazing Combat over the years. But this has got all 4 volumes, 4 issues, and it's just amazing. Just absolutely love it. It doesn't even say it's four issues. I think it was 4 issues. It certainly was. I'm just going to have a check now. But it's got lots of content, so you can see great stories there. Superb artwork, and also great stories as well. It's just superb. Superb book, this one. And it's from Fantagraphic Books. I've got lots of Fantagraphic books. This one, Blazing Combat, really, this feels real nice quality. It's got a lovely texture to it as well. But the paper quality, everything about it is great. Now, sadly, slight minor point is, of course, you can see from the size of this, it is not the same size as the originals. Someone will probably put in the comments below. It is! No, that is definitely the original magazines. I'm certain were slightly bigger than that. Only slightly, but I'm certain it's slightly smaller. I stand corrected if it's not, but to me it looks slightly smaller than the original. But they are very hard to find. Blazing Combat, they're not the easiest ones to get. Aha, for me, my favourite, another one of my favourite. I love dancing, I mentioned in previous video, and singing. This one's obviously for exercises, for dummies. I've got loads of these sort of singing books, singing exercise books. This is excellent. Absolutely brilliant, full of some really great examples. Now, I've never tried the CD. You can see the CD is still in its packaging there. But it's got loads of brilliant exercises, practice pieces, and all those things. I just do that all the time, singing. I just love to sing. I'm in a choir, soul choir, which is just one of my favourite activities. And but literally all day I will be singing. So I will not be singing in any of these things because, one, I don't want to get any copyright strikes against me for singing vast numbers of songs. So I won't do that. But I do think that's just a brilliant singing book. Really worth checking out if you're a singing sort of. Of course, obviously better to actually have a teacher as well. But I haven't got a teacher, so one of those things, when you go to choir, you learn all the lessons as you go, which maybe is the best thing. I don't know. I wish I'd started earlier. It's one of those ones you think, when you do it, you think, God, I wish I'd been singing when I was at the age of 4 or something. Really should have got it. But still, those things I didn't do in life. So this one is brilliant. Fred Bassett. I love these ones. These were in the Daily Mail. And this one's 1963 to 2013. Now, I haven't got many. I've got one other collection, I think, of Fred Bassett's. But they are just really nice books. Great, beautiful illustrations all the way through. Just great little stories all the way through that period. And it's very sharp, very, very good quality artwork all the way through. And please, if you want me to review any of these, do more things. I think I've reviewed this already. I'm quite certain that if you search for Fred Bassett one, you will find one of my reviews of it. But any other ones, please let me know in the comments below. This is a masterpiece. This one, How to Read Nancy. Maybe not a comic that everyone reads nowadays, possibly, but wow. I mean, there's a few books, the Scott McCloud ones that come to mind, but the sort of how to read sort of comic book study, the understanding of comic book. I was recently looking at one of the YouTube tutorials about some brilliant series of mastering comic art or just mastering art, and I thought, wow, that was absolutely amazing. But this is a sort of similar sort of thing. How to Read Nancy, the elements of comics in 3 easy panels. Just absolutely fascinating. It's black and white colour, a bit of colour as well. Just also it's got great history of up comics as well at the back. And it's just brilliant. Just how can you have a page like that? And yet you can learn so much from so many things in this. It is really an amazing book. Really, if you've noticed it in the shop and you think, oh, I don't know what that is, and you just passed it by. If you're into comic drawing, all that sort of thing, this is a must-have. Really, really worth getting. How to Read Nancy. And of course, it teaches also how to read comics, which of course, everyone says, oh, it's pretty obvious, but there's a lot of things in comics that you might just read them, but there's lots of different levels, lots of things that the artist put in that this book tries to explain, obviously from the point of view of Nancy, but it's obviously things you can take for as it says, the best book I've ever read. I don't think I'd go as far as that, but it's got all the reviews at the back, and I agree. I think this is one of, it says here, How to Read Nancy details the agony involved in making comic strips. It is also a very funny book. And I agree, an absolute masterpiece. Now, I'm not a fan of, and I can't even say his name very well, Gauguin, I don't know, maker of myth. It's a very nice book, got lots of quality pictures all the way through. I'm not a super fan of the artist or the artwork. It's okay, but I didn't want to get rid of it. It's one of those ones I thought, I'm in an R, it's a Tate exhibition catalogue, but it's still worth keeping in the collection. I don't know. It's quite a lot of time when I go through doing this, and one of the things that I've been doing going through all my books, it's nice to go through them and think, do I really want to keep that book or this book? Because sometimes we've got a lot of overlap with other books as well. And I've probably got many examples of his work as well in other books, lots of Impressionist books, of course, that include work. So I'm not certain always whether I want to keep everything. This is superb. Mort Cinder. Unfortunately, it is in Spanish. If you can't read Spanish, probably going to be a bit of a hard read. But wow, the artwork is first rate. Really, really superb. I just love this artist. Really, really good. The stories are brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed them, and you can see there obviously at the back, Spanish, lots and lots of different ones there. Quality book all the way through. Very, very, very nice. This one is for another quality book. This one is in English. Glorious. Penguin Classics. I think they've just brought out the best series. Epic, complete collections, omnibus collections. I don't think they really compete with this at all. This smacks of quality. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't include all the stories of the early run of Captain America. It does include the first story, the Golden Age story, issue 1, which is very nice. Now, it's been cleaned up. It's not as sort of original comic book, but it's still beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. You can see that lovely gold there. This is smacks of quality all the way through. So it doesn't include everything. It's got brilliant Strang out the back. I love this one. Absolute classic story. Love this collection. Hopefully, at some point, they bring out a volume 4, volume 5, etc. Maybe Fantastic Four, The Avengers. Who knows? It does actually reference at the back those books. But at present, I haven't seen them. Paperback versions are available. This is superb. I love this one. Atlas here. Unfortunately, they stopped bringing out the Marvel Masterworks Atlas ones. They obviously continued bringing out various, obviously the Silver Age, Bronze Age, etc. But the Atlas ones, as well as the Timely ones, the Golden Age ones, they stopped. And they got to Venus Volume 1. And you can see it includes Venus Volume 1, 1 to 9, and Lana, etc. And Marvel Mystery Comics number 91. Some really great artists. But Volume 2, which includes the superb, brilliant artwork by Bill Everett, not included, which is such a pity. This has still got some very unusual, and you've got those, look at those covers. The covers were just absolutely glorious. They were very much, particularly unusual style back in the 1940s, late 40s. Very, very weird. And the stories were getting quite odd, even by the end of this Volume 1. Hopefully, Volume 2 will come out at some point. Maybe in this form, maybe an omnibus edition, I don't know. Let's just hope at some point, because it's a series that really should be finished. Venus, brilliant volume of Marvel Masterworks. This is lovely. I love cover books. I've got loads of cover books, and this one's Vogue. Vogue covers 1909 to 1914. Now, not every single, obviously, because it's a lot of covers. Now, they could have done that, I suppose, if you work on the basis of 12 per year, then you can obviously work out the mathematics of, you could have done it, but they didn't. So what they've done, they've obviously got some pages with smaller covers, and you've got some pages obviously with the big covers. Now, I don't know if every single cover is included. I haven't gone through it going, oh, that's June 1918, early March. And also they had slight confusing things here, early March, early April. So was there a late? Yeah. You can see late May. So maybe they had multiple issues during the month. I don't know. But I don't know if it's certainly not everything's included. Some are slightly smaller. But it's still an absolute beautiful book full of just beautiful cover art. And I think this is definitely worth it. If you're into Vogue or fashion magazines or just magazines of that period, Art Deco period, I think this book is definitely a must-have. So Vogue collection. Weirdly, this is a St. Michael, The Art Of. Now, I can't remember Marks and Spencer's or St. Michael, it says here, bringing out lots of books. Maybe they did, but I really don't remember going to the shops, buying all those sort of books in there. Maybe wrong, but certainly doesn't come to mind. This is lovely. I love this one. King of the Comics. 100 years of King features. Just absolute. This weighs a ton as well. This is a real, you can see it's a real thick, chunky book. This is very, very... It is beautiful. It's full of tons of original art pages. Also, of course, colour as well as black and white for the original art pages. You've got newspaper strips. You've got everything. Just it's near enough to complete early history. It's just brilliant. Real classic book. And I think you should still be able to find copies of this quite easily around. I think it's Prince Valiant and many, many more. Unfortunately, the title's a bit odd. King of the Comics, 100 Year of King Features. And of course, many people might not know about King Features unless you're of a certain age where King Features were everywhere. So now, of course, it probably slightly forgot, but it is really, you can see all the various people there. You can see Popeye, Flash Gordon, Crazy Cat, Beetle Bailey, Blondie, and so many more. A really brilliant book to check out. This is the last one of the current set anyway, of the Penguin. This is lovely. Black Panther. This includes, and this does include all the early stories. Now it doesn't unfortunately include does include the Fantastic Four, does include the Avengers. Of course, you can't include everything, but it does at least have the earliest story with the Black Panther. But it is full of just superb artwork, and it's jungle action. Obviously, the Fantastic Four. It's got the covers as well. It's a really, really beautiful quality book. Again, one of those ones that if you're thinking about buying the Epic collection or maybe Omnibus collections or whatever, I think you really should just check this out as well. Maybe have a look, because this, I think, is just the best format for the Black Panther books, like the Captain America, like the Spider-Man. I just think they're just brilliant. This one is great. This is an unusual one. And it's got, I don't know, there's some, well, just quickly flick through there. You can see it's black and white colour. Lots and lots of examples. How to create comics. Creating comics. 47 master artists reveal techniques. And you can see a few names there, fairly famous ones. Paul Galusi. I really love his work. And I don't know if it actually breaks down, given the front. Let's have a look at the contents. Oh, it's got a forward by Paul Galusi. You can see there, you've got the details there. So there's a variety of different artists. You can obviously read about their techniques and methods, etc. And it's just a really genuinely good book. I think it's 50p or something. One of those ones that you sort of pick up at an Oxfam shop. Judge Anderson. Yeah, another one of these brilliant volumes. I love these ones. 2000 AD. You see it's a 2000 AD series. Again, there's stacks and stacks of them. I don't think there's vast numbers of the Judge Anderson ones, but obviously it continues with all the stories of Judge Dredd, etc. It's all in black and white, of course, all from the 2000 AD comic. I loved reading them when they came out at the time, and it's just great to have them in this massive collection. And you can see there all the details about all the various writers, John Wagner, Alan Grant, etc. And you can see there you've got the contents, vast number of issues, and that's it. Of course, you've got the favourite, Judge Death. You've always got to have Judge Death in that story. This is lovely. And now I don't know why I didn't include this in that. See, this is the trouble with my books. They're all over the place, and this should be in PS Art book selection. But however, or shelf, this one, for some weird reason, has got out of place. Volume 3, and this is the 1950 to 1951 Adventures into the Unknown. And these are just brilliant collections. Now, all the works, I think, are public domain, but at the same time, probably very hard to get. Probably still hard to find. Of course, the comics themselves, the 1950s ones, very hard to buy as well. So at the same time, it's just, this one is actually, unfortunately, water damaged. I think I got it reasonably priced because it was water damaged, but it's no big deal. It doesn't worry me. I mean, it's not end of the world. Obviously, it would be nice if it had been that, but you can see the artwork is absolutely superb. It is as the original. It hasn't been, it's probably got some, obviously, a little bit of clean up, but it hasn't been cleaned up in the excessive, restored, super duper cleaned up way that the Marvel and DC ones. So if you want original comics, to look at them in probably the best format ever. And not only that, I think this one's got some essays, and it's got also various, yes, it's got an essay at the front, which of course is always good. Mighty Mouse in outer space. I'm not sure why it's in, you can see the water damage there. You've got to see the mark there of water damage. But it also includes, as always, the sort of information about Harvey Horrors are here, and it's got tons of other ones. You can see there other books like Forbidden Worlds, etc. And always slightly disappointed every time I ever go through one of these books. It always mentions this one, fantasy and science fiction, which sadly I don't think has ever come out. And I've actually contacted them a number of times to say, is it ever going to come out? Never sadly received a reply, which is a pity. But anyway, I love this. I think this, I hope she brings out some more. I've got 2 other books. I've got a couple of the comics by Jessica Martin. I love this. Absolutely superb. It says signed there. Oh yeah, there it is, signed. Good old sign there. Life drawing, just a life under lights. Just a fascinating read, sort of set in the lure of the spotlight. The other one was about cinema, and this one's about the clubs of London and Soho and all those, sort of forging a career as a West End regular. Really, she was a Doctor Who actor. And I just love this book. I really, really hope she brings out more. Brilliant graphic novels. I loved it. The artwork is first rate. Actually, I better show you some of the artwork. You'll probably turn around and say, you're not showing me the artwork. Real nice. It really captures that sort of period as well. It really sort of goes through. I found it a really joyful read all the way through. Loved it. This one's a nice book. Very, very enjoyable. The Pleasure of Reading, edited by Antonia Fraser. Very, very good one. It's got lots and lots of different authors. So it's not just obviously her. It's got loads of people that have included. Let's see if it's got a contents. I'm certain it has. You can see the list there. See all the various people that talk about various books, etc. And it is a joy to read. It's one of those books that you can dip into. Lots of books you have to read from page 1 all the way through. This is the sort of book you think, oh, you know what? J.G. Ballard, one of my favourites. I love J.G. Ballard. So obviously it's not huge, only 6 pages, but it's a real great read. Love this book. Very, very nice. This one's lovely. Another one is collections of a comic art of George Herriman. Say his name right. Crazy Cat. And you can see there, it's full of tons and tons of examples of his works, lots of strips, lots of information as well. It's obviously a soft cover one, a really great read. And it's quite a nice chunky book. I love these sort of collections. These collections of artists. I wish there were more. There's so many artists. You think, oh, wouldn't it be great if there was a big... And quite often you find sort of books about comic history and you read like about this artist and you think, and there's nothing else about them. You get obviously some like George Herriman. There's quite a few. Crazy Cat. So, but it's great. And I love these sort of collections. And again, really worth checking out. It's got a colour and black and white. This is great. This was an unusual one. This was a sale one in Forbidden. I always love picking up, going to their sales selection. They've got a pile of them. Sometimes you can find some great stuff. Other times you might not. This one's The Walking Dead Comics Companion. Now, this one obviously doesn't go all the way through to the end of the series. I don't know as much about the comics as the series. I watched all the episodes of The Walking Dead. I love zombie films and zombie TV series, Z Nation, etc. There's loads of like Korean ones that are really good as well. And this was just fascinating. Lots and lots of examples of some really brilliant artwork and also a lot of information about all the different stories, And I've read the compendiums even. 3 volumes. I think there was 3 volumes at the time. I don't know if there's any more, but certainly I read 3 volumes of it and I thought it was just brilliant. I love the stories. I wish I'd read every single story. But I didn't collect it at the time. And of course, when the series came out, I didn't think, I must go and start buying the comic as well. Especially since when I picked up the comic, of course, the story was different. And I was thinking, I don't want to start confusing myself to the point of thinking, now I'm watching the series, I'm not going to start reading the comics as well. But it is nice to get a book like this that literally goes through everything, shows you tons of examples about all the characters. Some, of course, some of the characters died earlier on or just didn't exist or so on and so on. So there's some variations and a fascinating read. There's details on the back there. It says there, the Walkers. You know them as Walkers. You rooted for Rick. No. I never rooted for Rick. Sorry, I'm putting my what's name on there. Someone will say, you didn't root for Rick. No. I was always in series anyway. I was like Shane. I would have said Shane. Rick made so many odd decisions. I thought, no. Actually, Eugene was my favourite. I loved Eugene. Eugene was a great character. I must admit, I always felt that he would have been so much better than Rick, who sort of made so many odd decisions all the time. Areas that could have been very defensible. And then he would just go, oh, no, I just got to the point where I thought, no, Rick, don't do that. Don't do that. But he was good in some things, of course. And he was a great character. Andrew Lincoln, I think, is brilliant. Totally off point. Now I'm on to Tarzan. This is an unusual one. The New Adventures. Roy Thomas and also the artist there. Very strange book. I love the format, this landscape format. Really worked really well and actually full of some quite sort of John Buscema-like style artwork and really quite genuinely good tales in colour all the way through. I liked it. Maybe not for everyone, but I found it quite an enjoyable read. This one's an unusual one. And yet another one is sort of Craig Yo ones. Yes, it's a Craig Yo one. I knew it was a Craig Yo one. Jungle Girls. Lots of things. I've got a few of these sort of, again, it's one of these sort of collections done with the artwork basically looking as it was back in the day, back in the 40s and 50s. And you've got lots of different ones. You've got here Camilla by Victor Ibsen. And you've got some lovely essays as well. As I think is also you've got some brilliant original artwork as well, which is always good. Ruler and others as well, all top. So you've got a lot of great artwork here. And this is Jungle Girls. And you can see here it's got Sheena Tigra, Judy the Jungle. Judy the Jungle. Very unusual title. Camilla Jungle and Cave Girl. And you've got obviously the back. You've got some Princess Panther. There. Well, that's a run through of that pile of comments. I hope that you found something of interest. Please put in the comments below any opinions about it. You think, oh, that was a terrible book. Don't buy that book. You should never, those sort of things. Always happy to hear. If you don't, you think. Also, if you want me to review another book, maybe slightly with a bit more detail, please let me know in the comments. Always great to hear about that as well. Thank you much.